It's a bonus edition of the Book Club for Kids. Hi, I'm Kitty Felde. Last week, we talked to writer Charles Waters about the book he and co-writer Tracy Sorrell created, Mascot. This week, we continue the conversation. So, Charles, you started off just like me, writing plays.
You know, I'm a professional actor, and there was a time where I was like, how can I generate my own material? So I tried that, and that didn't work out, and I tried picture books before getting into just by reading them, I was like, okay, let me try to write one, instead of attending seminars and seeing how it's done. So I did that before I really got into writing. I worked for a company called Poetry Alive, and they hire professional actors across the country to perform poems as theater, almost like Saturday Night Live sketches, except some would be comedic, some would be dramatic. There'd be audience participation, there'd be call and response poems, there would be poems on the theme, where you would do 4 poems about, let's say, mothers, or poems about fathers or nature. And I had to perform roughly over 200 poems in 3 years in 37 states. I performed on Indian reservations. I performed in economically underdeveloped areas. I performed at private schools where the tuition was $60,000 a year. I saw America high and low and sideways. In some ways, I got a snapshot of our country. And there's something about performing those poems and seeing the reaction for some of those students that were really invested, that I knew that we made a difference. And I kept thinking, I would love for that to happen with my own stuff. And that's how I really started getting into writing, and particularly writing poetry, and then eventually verse novels and picture books and all the other good stuff.
You talk a lot about how your experience with the Highlights Foundation really helped launch your career. So tell us all about that Highlights experience.
Okay, so Highlights Magazine, which everybody knows, the grandson of the founders, Dr. and Mrs. Myers, his name is Kent Brown. Kent started the foundation, and he wanted to give back, and he wanted authors and illustrators and editors and creatives to kind of get together and improve on their craft. So on the family property, which has been in the family for over 100 years, in the Poconos, on the grounds of the Lenape Nation, in Milanville, Pennsylvania, I believe I'm getting that right, there are a series of cabins and workspaces and $1 million barn where you take seminars. And it would be in different things. It would be a retreat. You'd be gone, they have 4 days and 3 nights with meals, farm to table, and anything you want. And all you do is focus on learning. So Kent would hire industry professionals to teach. Kent's now retired. He's taken on an emeritus role. His son, George, the great-grandson of the founders, and another person in the family, her name is Allison Green Myers, they run the foundation now. And I started out there as a student. And I took a big chance on going. I applied and got accepted for a scholarship. And went out there, and I was nervous. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know if I was making the right decision. I knew the person who was teaching. She's my poetry mentor, Rebecca K. Dotlich. So I knew her, but I didn't know anybody else. And it was her that really suggested I apply for a scholarship, because I didn't have the money to make this happen. So I took a chance and got accepted, took Rebecca's class, and through the years worked my way up the ladder, and I'm now a teacher there. Highlights is the reason why a lot of creatives finally got published. Besides giving you hope, they give you a practical guideline through seminars to help you. And they also introduce you to editors in the business. And so you kind of cut out the middle person. And that's what happened to me. I don't know where I'd be in writing and publishing without Rebecca K. Dotlich believing in me, and Kent Brown believing in me, and the Highlights Foundation and the professors that I've had there. And now Tracy, who I met at Highlights, She's a teacher there too, and she came there on scholarship. So the fact that this is all happening, it's a big full circle moment, especially for myself and Tracy.
Thanks, Charles. We have interviews with dozens of other writers at our website, bookclubforkids.org, on our Writers on Writing page. I'm Kitty Felde. Thanks so much for listening. And if you haven't discovered our other podcasts, the Fina Mendoza Mysteries, you are in luck. We will be reprising the 16-plus episodes of Season 2, State of the Union, where Fina is in search of the mysterious bird that pooped on the president. That's the Fina Mendoza Mysteries, which also introduce civics to young learners. You can listen to it wherever you get your podcast. I'm Kitty Felde. Thanks so much for listening.